Hey guys, Tabby here and welcome back to my channel. So guys, this is going to be the video where I talk to you guys about my O.W.L.s Readathon results and pretty much my April wrap up, everything I read and watched in April. Needless to say, I failed epically. So yeah, so that's pretty much what I'm going to be talking about. So if you were interested, keep watching and let's get into it. So guys, if you didn't watch my O.W.L.s Readathon video, you might be a little confused. The O.W.L.s Readathon was created by G from Book Roast, which again, she is my favorite YouTuber. And this is the readathon that she created, which was based off Harry Potter, the O.W.L.s exam that they take in their 5th year. But this is going to be pretty much the same as a wrap up. Everything I read and watched in April. And I'm including watched because Netflix kind of interfered a little bit with my readathon, but let's just get right to it. The first book I read was Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. This was the Care of Magical Creature exam, and I will say I passed this exam. I read this entire book probably in a few days. It was so good. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. For those who don't know, this is part of the Throne of Glass series. Absolutely loved it. Great story, great plot. Again, it's the same characters in the Throne of Glass series, plus some new ones, which I absolutely loved. One thing I think Sarah J. Maas is so good about is creating characters and automatically liking them or hating them. So yeah, such a great book. The next book I read was The Secret by Julia Garwood. That was my Charms exam, which was adult work. This was actually one of my ebooks that I had on my Nook. And I gave it 5 stars. It was a reread, and again, I read that in a day. Super easy because I've read it several times, and it's a 5 stars because it's really such a good book. If you love romance, I mean, it's up there. Julie Garwood is one of my favorite authors. The third book I read was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. The prompt for this one was History of Magic, which was published at least 10 years ago. And of course, this is 8 out of 5 stars. It's the Harry Potter series, and you guys know how much I love the Harry Potter series. I finished it in a day, again, because I've read it like a gazillion times, and I have it on Nook and Audible as well, so I was able to kind of just flip back and forth. So yeah, I love it. So far, I thought my O.W.L.s Readathon was going very well. And this is kind of where it slowed a little bit. Fourth book I read was Howl's Moving Castle by Deanna Jones, which was the herbology exam, and the prompt was plant on cover. I did not pass this exam. I'm halfway through, as you can tell from my bookmark. This is so bad, but I actually ended up buying the movie because I've seen the movie before. It was years ago, years and years ago. And while I was reading it, I was like, I don't remember that. So I wanted to watch the movie. So I actually ended up watching the movie, which I absolutely love. I think this might be the only time that I've actually liked a movie more than the book, which I can't say for sure because I haven't finished it. And I am going to finish this book. I just have not finished it because I've learned about myself that I'm very much a mood reader. If for some reason I don't want to read it, then I cannot really just make myself read it. And I just kept picking it up, putting it down, picking it up, putting it down, and it kind of just kept getting pushed back and back and back. So yeah, I failed the herbology exam. Sad day. And the next book I read was actually The Crooked Kingdom. This was the potions exam, and the prompt was sequel. Again, I failed this exam. I really like the Grishaverse, and I really liked Six of Crows. For some reason, this book, again, I would just keep starting and stopping, starting and stopping. I don't know what it is that just made me not want to read it because the story so far has been really good. Again, I don't know if it's just because I have to read it and like that pressure I put on myself to read all of these books just kind of made me not want to read it. Right now I'm like 70% done with the book. So yeah, needless to say, I did not pass herbology either. The 5th book I read was Starfire by Janetta Pinner. which was astronomy. The prompt was star in the title, and I loved this book. It wasn't that big of a book. It only had like 200 something pages, and I read it in less than a day. It is such a good book. Like, the story always kept moving forward. Like, there was no stagnant. There was always something happening that pushed the story forward. I did end up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. I think the only reason I didn't give it 5 stars, it was a very easy read, meaning it didn't have many like twists or turns or things like I had to think about or like question. It was presented very straightforward. And sometimes I like books that make me think and question. But again, such a good book. So I did end up passing astronomy. Thank God. And the next book I read, or should I say series, was the Selection series, which was not on my TBR. It was actually something I have already read. I have read several times. I have the first one, which is the Selection, on Audible. So on my way to work one day, I actually just put on this Selection so I could just listen to an audiobook, and it got me hooked back into the story, and so I ended up having to read the entire series over again. So that was 3 books that I read in April that was not on my TBR, and that did not count at all for my O.W.L.s Magical Readathon. So yeah. The next book I read was for Transfiguration, and if you guys watched my TBR, I had originally said that I wanted to read Crown of Feathers or The Four Dead Queens. I didn't read either of those. Again, this was my first readathon, and I learned a lot about myself. And if for some reason I don't want to read it, I really cannot just make myself read it. So I actually ended up getting A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, because it has a red cover, and it was amazing. I give it 5 stars. Such a good book. Again, I love Sarah J. Maas. I love her writing style. I love her stories. And I actually liked that book so much that I just had to keep reading that series because I could not know what happened. Like, I had to know what happened. Which the next one was A Court of Wings and Ruin. And I mean, it's not a small book. How many pages does this book have? 699 pages. So I ended up reading that, and I also read A Court of Mist and Fury, which is the 3rd book, which I bought on Kindle and Audible as well. And it is not a small series to read. These books are fairly big, as you can tell. So they pretty much took up the entire end of April. And again, they were not on my TBR, and they did not count at all for the O.W.L.s Magical Readathon, because again, I am a failure. And there was another book on my TBR, which was the Defense Against the Dark Arts exam, which the prompt was title starts with R. And I had chosen the Raven Boys, and I did not even get to it. I was just not feeling it for some reason. I will try to read it though. Hopefully this month. Like, I hope to finish Howl's Moving Castle, The Crooked Kingdom, and The Raven Boys this month. And another thing that kind of got in my way this month during the readathon was Netflix. I ended up watching quite a bit of Netflix. The 2nd season of Sabrina the Teenage Witch came on, and I had to watch that. And Legacies, which was based off Vampire Diaries and the originals. So it's like a spin-off from those. And The Umbrella Academy. They're really good series. So yes, I pretty much ended up watching 3 series on Netflix and completing those. So I excelled at that. So yeah, needless to say, I epically failed on my first ever participation in the O.W.L.s Magical Readathon. I only read 5 out of the 8 books that I was gonna read for the readathon. But overall, last month, I read 10 books, and then half of Howl's Moving Castle and half of Crooked Kingdom, so almost 11 if you count that. So yeah, I don't think I have the results to do Newt's in August, I think is when she does them. I'm not quite sure on the rules of the Newt readathon, but yeah, maybe I can participate, I don't know. And I realized why people pick smaller books for readathons. The size of the book doesn't always really matter to me because, again, I'm a fairly fast reader, but I think a part of me just kind of felt overwhelmed with the choices I made But then, I mean, I ended up reading big books like this, so I don't know. I think next year I will end up picking smaller books, so that leaves me more room to, if I want to read different books throughout the month, I will have the time to finish those books and then read anything else that I want to read. And next year, I think I might try to read a few graphic novels and comic books, because I watched G's wrap up, and some of the graphic novels that she read sounded really interesting, and I think I've only ever read one graphic novel and one comic book, so I would like to try and get into those more. So yeah, definitely learned a lot. Failed, but learned, which ultimately is succeeding, right? Right? But guys, that was my O.W.L.s Readathon results and my wrap up for April. I'm sorry I didn't end up vlogging any of my readathon. It's a big undertaking, especially with the kids and everything. Vlogging takes up a lot of time. If you watched my vlog, I pretty much have the same routine every single day, which is pick the kids up, dinner, bath, play, bedtime. That's pretty much my life in a nutshell. But guys, I hope you liked this video. Definitely let me know in the comments down below if you participated in the O.W.L.s Readathon and if you did much better than me, which I don't think would be hard to do, and what books you read in April, and if you've read any of these books and your opinion of them. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and if you're new to my channel, hey, welcome. Feel free to hit that subscribe button if you want to join my small community of Harry Potter lovers and bookworms, and I will see y'all next time. Bye, guys. Xander! Baby, be careful. Don't hit my light.
Hello. Cheese. Hello.
You're killing me, Smalls. I'm not... What is up with this piece of hair? Simmer. What are you doing? So a very oh my god, blah blah blah. Just a quart of rings and blah blah blah. R's and W's. Rules on that. High five. Why did my teeth look so yellow today? Stop drinking coffee. Guys.